I've spent more time at this desk in the past 2 weeks than I probably have spent in my own bed because I'm working a lot. This is where the magic happens, some would say. So to those of you who follow my channel, it's pretty obvious that video games are a really important part of my life, and I am so sad to admit the amount of dust that my systems have been collecting recently. Look at that. Nothing like some cat hair. So basically, to fill you in, I work a day job at a newspaper here in Rochester. On top of that, I have my YouTube channel that I contribute to once a week. And then on top of that, I've been freelancing recently for some companies, making videos for some, editing videos for others. And unfortunately, this gets in the way to one of the things that's most important to me in my life, aside from my relationship, and that is video games. I've been asked by a couple people how I balance video games into my work life, and for the most part, I balance video games into my life the same way I do everything else, and I just make that a part of my routine. This time to this time I work, this is when I go to sleep, this is when I wake up, this is when I do this is when I work, this is when I write. And for a while I used to make it where strictly during a time frame on the weekend is when I would play video games, and pretty much Sundays were dedicated to only playing video games. But this past couple weeks, that work-game balance has been completely annihilated. And honestly, it's a little hard to even film this video because I feel like I've been working so much that I actually don't even really have anything to talk about other than work. And maybe this is what this video is about, and I just don't know it yet. I think I need a cup of coffee. Yeah. So while I make this coffee, I guess I'll talk about my existential crisis. Coffee. So first for this video, I wanted to talk about how to balance playing video games and work. But in the midst of finally making this video, I realized that I haven't played video games for the past week. So I'm not actually doing a good job at balancing life and video games at all. There's no balance. It's just work right now. It's truly become a cliche for people to make coffee while they're making their videos, hasn't it? Why do we play video games? We play video games for the same reasons why we watch movies and we read books. Not only is it escapism, but I really do believe that stories are tremendously important for humans because it is another way for us to empathize with something. I don't know, this is probably far-fetched and a little over the top, but I don't know, I used to kind of think that like empathy, feeling things, it's as important as and as necessary for us as eating and sleeping. By nature, we're emotional creatures, so we have to get our fix with being emotional. They make us live for our own story. Anyways, the same exact idea applies to video games, except it's different in the sense that we're physically doing it. In a way, we're physically doing it, and it's probably the closest we'll ever get to empathizing with something other than books and movies because we're actually doing it. And I think basically what I'm trying to say is, well, clearly I miss video games. Video games are healthy for me. It's a balance, and I'm neglecting that balance. Hopefully I don't think this will last much longer. I need a mug. This mug, I like this mug. And when video games are such an important part of my life, because after all, it's one of the main reasons why I started this YouTube channel, and recently when people ask me like, how do you balance those things? I no longer really have an answer for them because I'm not balancing it. I'm just working. However, something did just occur to me, and if anything, it's sort of a contradiction to everything I've been talking about in this video, and that is, though I don't have time to play video games, I do make time to make these videos. What does that say? Making videos are more important to me. These videos are more important to me. Because though my channel is heavily about video games, it's because video games are a heavy part of my life. But ultimately, this channel was started to present me and my life and things that I think are valuable to others. And I think the moral of what I'm trying to say is, when somebody says they don't have time for something, I don't think that's true. You make time for what is important to you. You always have time. Like, I can control every minute that I spend. I can choose not to go to work. I can choose not to work on a video for this week. I can choose to not freelance, and I can choose or not to choose to play video games. So what does that say about me? Am I not as serious of a gamer as I may think myself to be? But really, I think at this point in my life, everything that I'm working on currently outside of my job at the newspaper and even working on this channel is all building towards something else that's really, really important to me. And I think eventually it'll all make sense and come together if I just stay diligent and keep working. Also, I'm so sorry I'm being so cryptic about what I'm working on and I promise you that soon I will feel more comfortable talking about it because it's still the early stages of things and I would rather show than tell. Anyways, I have to get back to work. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. You could be using this time to play video games. I could be using this time to play video games. Anyways, I'm Kurt Indovina. I'm leaving. I love you. Goodbye.